going on, Neon Nation, and welcome back to the Neon Arcade for another video, this time revolving around The Witcher and what's to come in the future in the form of TV shows, games, and other forms of media.
Starting from some of the most exciting news as of late, we have some more details on Season 2 of The Witcher Netflix. Seems like around a week ago, filming wrapped up, and although there is no release date slated yet for Netflix, the pace of filming amidst the events in the world and the lockdowns means that we likely won't have to wait for Season 2 for Henry Cavill, Freya Allan, and Anya Chalotra to return to what will be a bigger and bolder Season 2, featuring new characters and monsters, as well as larger scale battles and events. When it comes to these new characters, the Redanian Intelligence Twitter page has conveniently recapped the latest actors and actresses cast for many of these characters. This includes Alexander Squires as young Geralt, James Baxter as young Vesemir, Nia McCormick as Lara Doran, Anne Furbank as Ithilien, Joseph Payne as Yar, Ed Birch as King Vesemir, Anya Marson as Voleth Mir, and Sam Hazelden as Eredin. Now, if you're familiar with the video games, you'll know that the Wild Hunt led by Eredin are the main antagonists in the third installation of The Witcher. And although we don't know to what degree they will be on screen for Season 2, with the adaptation of the show not necessarily being tied down to the chronology of Andrzej Sapkowski's books, we'll have to see how much of a departure Season 2 takes from the source material. As excited as you may be for The Witcher Season 2, there's also two different spin-offs of the Witcher universe coming to Netflix as early as this year, assuming no more delays. The first is The Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf, an animated origin story of Geralt and his witching seniority Vesemir. This is being spearheaded by Studio Mir, an anime studio based in Korea, and although not in the same tier as maybe Trigger, who is in charge of Cyberpunk Edgerunners releasing in 2022, are more than capable with their prior works being The Legend of Korra, The Boondocks, and most recently Netflix's Dota Dragon's Breath, which is based on the popular MOBA Dota 2. Nightmare of the Wolf will not look to adapt any of Sapkowski's novels, and Netflix is looking to tell some new stories blossoming from the IP. Netflix describes Nightmare of the Wolf as follows. Long before mentoring Geralt, Vesemir begins his own journey as a Witcher after the mysterious Deglin claims him through the Law of Surprise. Nightmare of the Wolf is written by Beau DeMayo, who has written the third episode of The Witcher Season 1, as well as the second episode in the much-anticipated Season 2. Nightmare of the Wolf will feature spectacular action sequences that the anime style will lend itself to, but will also be grounded in an emotional and poignant narrative. The second spin-off is Witcher Blood Origin, a 6-episode live-action miniseries and a prequel to The Witcher Netflix, set in an elven world 1200 years before the show, during the creation of the first Witcher and the conjunction of the spheres, where monsters, men, and elves coalesced. Now, filming has yet to commence on Blood Origin, but the project has already undergone some stress due to Jodie Turner-Smith, allegedly one of the main stars of the show who was to play Eöl, exiting the series due to scheduling conflicts. Blood Origin reportedly faced a production delay that conflicted with the future schedule of the main actress, and thus she will not be able to play Eöl, the Queen's Guard, and Deadly Warrior. Moving into some comic book news, Dark Horse has announced a comic book miniseries called The Witcher Witch's Lament, whose first installment will arrive in around a month and a half on May 26th. According to Dark Horse, the story follows famed Witcher Geralt after a routine hunt, but when the captured witch is burnt at the stake, Geralt is haunted by images of her death, and a harrowing warning begins to take shape. Soon, Geralt finds himself drawn into the mystery surrounding this heinous persecution. Written by CD Projekt Red narrative manager Bartosz Stybor and illustrations by artist Vanessa R. Del Rey, this is looking to add even more world building to an already high-tier lineup this year. Illustrator Anato Finstark has released the first cover of Witch's Lament, which is only fueling my personal hype for more stories based in the world of Geralt and the Witcher. Moving into gaming, CD Projekt Red recently formally announced the dual franchise model of having Cyberpunk and the Witcher games developed in parallel with each other starting in 2022. With the acquisition of CD Projekt Red Vancouver, formerly known as Digital Scapes, which will likely focus on Cyberpunk, CDPR is expanding at a rate that will help this reality come to fruition, while hopefully correcting the many failures of the Cyberpunk launch with a shift in pipelines and marketing, as recently promised by management. All in all, both franchises have bright futures, albeit still shrouded by the gloom of the most recent Cyberpunk fiasco that has not seemed to subside with patch 1.2. I will be diving into patch 1.2 once I have sunk some more time into it, but for now, thanks for watching, and for more Witcher, Cyberpunk, Netflix, and gaming, join the Neon Nation by subscribing.